Get ready for the revolution, the generation evolution. Get ready for the revolution, the generation evolution. And now join Blake, Christian, and Mark as they have fun going through the crazy wrestling world. Get ready for the revolution, the generation evolution. Get ready for the revolution, the generation evolution. And now let's start the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Generation Evolution bonus episode. This is a special show meant for our TikTok viewers and our podcast listeners. And I wanted to have a little bit of fun today, and I actually have a special guest, which we don't normally do on a show like that. And from the PW Torch, old friend of ours, Kelly Wells. Kelly, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. Good to talk to Japan. Talk New Japan. I accidentally said knock New Japan. I'm not going to be doing that too much, except for the fact that this show is kind of defined by who wasn't booked on it. I mean, this year was kind of carried by Hiroki Goto and Zack Sabre Jr. and they're nowhere to be found on the card. So I don't know.
About that. I was actually wondering about that too when I was looking over the card. I'm like, why are they not on this show? Like, it's really strange. Like, what? Do you have any clue what's going on here? Like, at all?
I don't have any idea. So I've tried to figure that out on the podcast that I did for the Torch about this, and what I kind of landed on is the only thing I could figure out logically is they don't want a bunch of really popular singles guys to take away from what they're trying to do with Yota Tsuji. I think this is supposed to be one of the big nights for Yota Tsuji, although it's going to be the huge night for Tanahashi and Okada. But there's only 3 men's matches that are one-on-one on this show, and 1 women's match. And then there's a couple of wacky tags, and they got the 6-man tag Rambo, which is where most of those guys are going to be stuck.
Yeah, we'll actually start there, but I'm actually looking at that. Have we ever had where they actually combined the 6-man tag team champions and the Rambo? Like, have they ever done this before?
They've gotten close. So they did the 6-man as like WWE's tag team turmoil. One team loses and then another one comes in until they've all entered. So they did that a couple of years in a row before they went back to the Royal Rumble style, which they did last year. And Hiroki Goto won that on the way to finally winning his first IWGP Heavyweight Championship. But this year they kind of mashed the two together, and every 1 minute for 3 guys to come in seems like a lot. I mean, you've only got 7 matches on the card. You don't really need to speed this thing through, but they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, that's excessive. I just realized there is only 7 matches, and usually the Rambo's on the pre-show.
Yeah.
So, like, this is on the main show. They're not adding anything else. I mean, they might before this post. Maybe they'll add another match or something. But it's weird. There's only 7 matches on their biggest show of the year. That's weird.
Yeah. It feels like we're multiple matches short. It feels like we need something for Umino, for Uemura, for Narita, for Doki, absolutely, a double champion who's not booked, Goto and Zach.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this. We've done this before where we've recorded this show early and we've done cards and we've had full cards of like 13, 14 matches to go through. And it's weird. We only have half of that. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't even dawn on me until I pulled the card up to do the show. Like, we only have 7 matches. Like, it's weird. So, just so people know, we are recording this a little early and we'll be posting around, I think, probably around New Year's when I finally will drop this. But we're just recording her because of, holiday schedules and everything else. So if things do get added and we don't talk about it on here, that is why. Because we record this early for holiday breaks and everything else. So doing a lot of that this week. So anyway, so we talk about the 6-man tag team championships that they always forget about until Wrestle Kingdom comes around and then they defend them. But it is strange that belts they always forget about, they're defending, and some belts they're not on this show. But that's weird. So anyway, let's get to the rest of the show here. We have the women's match that you just brought up. It is for the IWGP Women's and the Strong Women's Championship. It is Shira. Is it? Can't say this right. Shira Kamatani.
Kamatani. Yep.
I was right. versus Siri. How do you think this is gonna go? 'Cause I don't think I've actually seen Kamitani really wrestle. I went to the New Japan show in Chicago back in April for Tanahashi's final US match, and I
Yep.
had Siri on that show, but I don't think Kamitani was on that show, so I don't really know much about her.
Yeah, Kamatani's been doing strong, and like they don't have a show right now. I really dug Strong when it was a show. It was a nice little background time filler with good matches on it, but not something I had to give my whole attention to all the time. But I dug it, and I've heard extremely good things about her. But I've only seen like a match or part of a match. Shuri, I've seen quite a bit more than that, and she's great. But I'm told to get very excited about Kamatani, but I haven't seen her actually do her thing yet in an extended. Like if I saw her, I don't know for sure that I could pick her out of a one woman lineup right now. I'd be like, oh, that is a wrestler I saw, but I can't think of who it is.
That's
Yeah,
funny. That's actually really funny.
yeah.
All right. You see who they've been thinking maybe they're leaning for Kamitani to win this thing?
Yes, I think a lot of people are talking about that being what this is, and that she'll be the next thing that they kind of promote in IWGP women's, but they don't really promote that at all. I don't know why it exists. Well, I do. They kind of created it to be part of Mercedes and her belt collector thing, but then she got injured and she couldn't be the first champion. So they so things got thrown off. I think that's why it exists, period. And now it's just kind of a prop for them to take around elsewhere and act like it carries weight. But I mean, what are there, 2 matches a year for this thing? At least on New Japan shows.
Yeah, in Japan. I know in the US they do more women's matches. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why it's there for. I know they have a Japan. They have a show in February. I think it's in Trenton, New Jersey. That I
Okay.
calendar. I know that's a show coming up in February. So, but who knows? But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked on that one. But I'd be interested to see this match. I'm really interested in this match. So, let's move on. We have a 10-man tag. It is the Bullet Club War Dog. It is Dave Finley, Gabe Kidd, and Jill Maloney, the unaffiliated. I think it's hysterical. Secret Takagi and Hiroto Takahashi versus the United Empire. Kyle Newman, Great Khan, Hanare, and two mystery people. Sure, why not? I
Yeah.
guess. Your
Why
thoughts?
not? My thoughts are much has been made by commentary, especially during the tag league that just wrapped up, about about the United Empire. They might as well just fold if they're not going to do anything big. They've still got their old video that still has Osprey on it, that still has Cobb on it.
My God.
Um, so they've been so that's been kind of a thing that like the guest announcers have been making fun of guys from other factions and things like that. And I think it's all leading to the strengthening of the United Empire, because they didn't turn these guys heel, or at least much more heelish, just to get rid of the faction altogether. So it looks like Callum Newman's taking over. I don't know that Callum is heel leader material, but I guess we'll find out. He's certainly very good in the ring, and for the most part, I'm just excited to see who these surprises are. So we've got so much going on with United Empire, with Callum taking over, with Hanare with his first match in over a year, and then with these two surprises. And I don't know, I threw a lot of names out there when I talked about this with Sean Radican for the torch. I went as far as to say maybe this is the yearly match for the Young Bucks, because they show on up on this show a lot. Um, it would be weird to see them anywhere but Bullet Club, but it's not the same Bullet Club that they left, so I don't know if that's where I should expect them. On the other hand, if they're facing the Bullet Club, that would be a really interesting way to introduce them into the fold with United Empire. So I expect United Empire to win this because they really have to, and the other guys are so cool they can get away with a loss. But
Well,
the other
actually,
guys are really cool, so I don't know.
the Young Bucks out there is interesting because it is technically two. It's like the Bulldog and the unaffiliated, so it could be the
Right,
United Fair and the Elite with the Young Bucks. So it
right.
could be too. They put it that way, just based on how they worded the match. So
Yeah,
that's totally possible. I mean, that pop would be pretty cool to have the Bucks come
yeah,
out, especially because they just returned as the Elite officially this week. So
yeah.
okay, let's move on. We have the this is a number one contenders match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, but the Junior Heavyweight Championship not being defended on this show.
Mm.
That makes absolutely no sense. It just dawned on me as I was reading that. Um, to remind everybody, who is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion? Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Doki.
Doki.
Doki is the champion, and he's a double champion. He's also co-holder of the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, and
I
that match normally opens the show.
yeah,
And
I was looking at that too. Wait a minute.
not only are they the champions, they won as sitting champions. They won the Super Junior Tag League in September. So obviously, they're happy with the work that's being done by Doki and Show, and as they should be. These guys are really kind of knocking it out of the park as dastardly heels. It's just real weird to me that that they trust Doki enough to have him hold all of the junior tag gold available to him. Um, and then he's not on the show. He'll be in the Rambo at the very, very least, but he should be. I mean, this is a match where they've always had a four-way, and he should be in it. But maybe he's still nursing that injury, and they don't trust him um, in this kind of environment to slow himself down, which he might need to do.
It is weird. It is really, really weird. But I do love a good number of Henderson match. You don't get them very often on pay-per-views like this. So it's El Desperado, Fujita, Ishimori, and Show. With Doki being champion and him being a strong champion at that, does it truly matter who wins this match? Kelly.
That's a good question. I could see any of these four winning. I think the one that's got the least chance is Ishimori. They love Ishimori. They know how good he is, but Ishimori is twice as old as people think he is. He's so much older than he's like 42, 43 years old, and nobody
Yeah,
seems
he's
to know that.
42 years old. I'm looking at it right in front of me.
Okay, because I mean, he looks probably upper 20s
Oh,
or
yeah,
30.
Wikipedia. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's in ludicrous shape.
I think again, Japanese. No, this is not even meant to be a racial comment, but Japanese people don't age. I noticed that a lot. Like a lot of the Japanese, like, I always joke about that. Like a lot of Japanese people in general just don't age facial wise.
Yeah.
Like facial.
And when it turns, it turns. I mean, certainly Satoshi Kojima looks old now, but he's 55. So, I mean, obviously,
That's obvious. That's different though. I think that's different.
it's got to happen. But yeah, Ishimori, I think, has the smallest chance of winning this. Sho is an interesting one because you got Sho and Doki as the tag team champions. So that could be an interesting way. I mean, there have been rumblings about turning Sho face again, but I mean, Sho he seems like he's having the time of his life doing this. Like he's just attacking this heel role with so much joy. And it's just fun and funny to watch the guy. Fujita is probably my favorite junior heavyweight in the world, so I'm definitely hoping that he wins. He got to win the best of the Super Juniors this year. I think he was the youngest guy to win it, and I'm looking forward to Fujita maybe being the one. And then I'm forgetting a babyface. Who am I forgetting?
Desperado.
Oh yeah, Desperado, the guy right now.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, Desperado would be in a way a boring choice just because the division has centered around him for like 2-3 years. But he's the boring choice because he's that good and he has good matches with everybody. So that wouldn't bum me out either.
So all right, I do like the idea of Fujita maybe going young, maybe going young for a nice change of pace.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be nice. They really have to start doing that in New Japan. So
Yeah, and they know it. I mean, that's why Suji's in the spot he's in.
Well, that was also my segue to get to our next match. It is the never open weight championship, and I completely forgot Evil was holding this belt. Evil, my favorite wrestler in the whole fucking world. With people are probably not catching my sarcasm with that one. With and by the way, I love Wikipedia written down as with Dick Togo and Don Fale. I love how Wikipedia that's how it's listed, by the way. Versus the debuting Aaron Wolf. And why don't you let people know who Aaron Wolf is that don't know?
So I don't know a ton about Aaron Wolf, but he's somebody that they are really counting on to be the next great Gaijin, whether he's going to be like the foreign menace or if he's going to be the foreign savior. I don't know. It looks like savior right now, but who knows what the long term will be for Aaron Wolf. Um, he's a great, big, genuinely super powerful dude, and they have really, really done a good job of only giving us the smallest taste of what he's all about. They have not. I mean, they had him in his young lion gear, kind of get into it with Evil during one of the nights of World Tag League, and so they're just kind of moving him in slowly. I do think this is going to be a first match title win for Aaron Wolf. I actually love Evil. I love him. He's like, I know in his role he's not allowed to have great matches. Like that's it's that simple. He's got to be the character he's got to be. But again, I just think he does it so well. I wouldn't be overly surprised. Evil and Show have both been talked about as candidates to turn babyface and to kind of go back to what they can do and like showing off what they can do. But I don't know. I don't know whether that's. I mean, there are no leaks. There's it's always so on lockdown with New Japan.
I will say
So
two things. First of all, my hatred for Evil has lessened because he's not in the main event scene. Like I hated him in the main event scene. Being a mid carder like this, I have no problem with this because at least this fits better to me. I think it fits better for him to be in a zone like this than it was in the main event scene where he really just pissed me off. Yeah.
it was weird to see him in the main event scene because normally they really protect their main event scene for matches that are going to be worked in a classic strong style way. I actually thought it was very ballsy of them and very much an interesting choice to have Evil of all people go to. He was in the finals of the G1. He went to the finals against Takeshita, and so
And for the crowd that cheered for Evil during that match,
yeah,
they
they
know.
did because and Evil's the one who was given that because they really wanted Takeshita to be cheered, and they figured the one guy they could do and have that happen was Evil. But then Evil got cheered
Yeah,
because as much as they like
that
Takeshita,
was watching that was an experience. Watching that was an
he's
experience.
not. Yeah, he's not one of them. And sometimes they're harder on Japanese people who make it elsewhere than they are um, actual like non-Japanese people completely. It's
I
an
just held the
interesting dynamic.
this on
Yeah.
a podcast back after that final. That Evil impressed me in that match. That was actually a really good match. That was actually
Yeah.
really, really good. Like I really enjoyed that a lot. Like I didn't expect to, and I really enjoyed that match.
I
So
knew that he'd turn it on. I knew that they would do something different. So they got the House of Torture shenanigans out of the way early, and there wasn't a lot of them. And then Evil wrestled a pretty straightforward match because they do want a great match in that slot. Um, at probably about half of any given year, the best match of the year is that G1 final because they book it to be so. And they give it, sometimes as much as I think the longest one was 37 minutes,
something like that.
something like that a few
Yeah.
years ago. One of the Ibushi matches, I think, was the one, but I can't
Oh,
remember if that's if
right, yeah.
that's true or not. But yeah, it is funny. Like fans get up in arms about Evil in this spot, but this faction and factions like this in Japan always work because the heat of them denying people what they want to see is just they're very old school wrestling in that way.
The other thing I wanted to note for those who didn't know that Aaron Wolf is a gold medalist in judo. He won it at the Tokyo Games, the 2020, the 2021, 2020 Tokyo Games. So
I didn't want to mention which discipline it was because I couldn't remember which discipline it was.
I looked it up. I looked it up while you were talking. I looked it up. I didn't know either, so I looked it up real fast. I knew he was a gold medalist, but I forgot what. So, so that's that. So let's move on to our two main events. And I know a lot of people are very surprised that they put the main event the way they did. I am not, to be honest with you, because of what it is. So we'll get to that match last. But we'll talk about the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship and IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship winner take all match between Hiroshi Takeshita and Yota Tsuji. On the record, and we just played this as part of our countdown for the top 20 for the year. I did actually pick Yota Tsuji to win the G1. So it's very, very funny to me that he ended up in the co-main event at Wrestle Kingdom despite not winning the G1. And he was my pick to win the G1. So I just want to clarify that I do find that funny. You said at the top of the show that this is Yota Tsuji's night. So talk about that more here. Go.
Yeah, Tsuji was a guy, I think that he was my final choice to win G1 also. I get the G1 winner more often than not slightly, which is pretty impressive because they have like 20 or more guys in it any given year. But it's very well protected. It's meant to be like it's the most predictable thing they do, but it's still worth seeing. I just love being able to immerse myself and watch every match in that. But yeah, I picked Suji also.
No, you'll love
Suji's
G1 this year. You'll love this. I was on vacation when the G1 was going on, and I'm in Grand Rapids, and Mandy and Chris are like taking naps between things we're doing, and I'm watching G1 matches on the TV.
Yep.
Just so I can keep up with the G1 while I'm on vacation. I think you'd be impressed by that one, knowing how much you're invested in this all the time. So,
well, the G1 actually happens during the national card show. So for the last few years, I've had to take off for 8 days to go to the national card show. And I get back into my room when it's really late, and I'm like, I got 5 matches to watch. So I
yeah,
just try to speed between the entrances and get those matches in and enjoy them as much as I can.
I know how much you plan things around. I figured you'd like that one. Anyway, back to what you're
Yeah.
saying about Sushi. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think that this is almost an open and shut one for Yota Tsuji, but I hesitate to say that about Wrestle Kingdom because they like to pull out weird booking decisions at Wrestle Kingdom. But Takeshita doesn't really go here. He's an AEW guy first, and I don't know why he'd want to be at this point because he's given so much more to do in New Japan. So maybe that should be the way, but his contract is what it is, and but he's the point of this match is that he's the outsider and Suji is the future, and but that because it's New Japan, that kind of that gives fuel to the fire of either guy winning because it seems like Suji has to win. But when it seems like the babyface has to win, that's when they love to pull the rug out from under them and just do heat upon heat upon heat. They just love that. It's a whole culture of like making the good one fail until they finally succeed. And Suji's failed a couple of times already, but that is not to say they won't do it again. So Suji makes sense on paper. It seems like it absolutely has to be, but they love doing things the other way when it seems like it has to be the babyface.
The crazy part, I was actually thinking the same thing as you're saying it. I'm like, I'm totally agreeing with you here. I'm 100% agreeing with you because I'm like, I would love to see Suji win this thing, but you're right. They do have a tendency, especially because this is not the main event, to do something crazy and have Takeshita retain and say he has a Wrestle Kingdom victory, like a big Wrestle Kingdom victory, like that's defending the World Championship. They can say that if they do this here. But I think it's better off. It's better if Suji makes this, this be Suji's big moment. And also the moment of having finally being the main event team where it deserves to be. You know what I mean? We've been saying that for a couple of years now. So,
well, the near main event scene, our main event has like a 40-year-old man as the young guy.
Exactly. So let's get to that. It is Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement match. We spent the last month on this podcast talking about John Cena's final match, but in the background, Hiroshi Tanahashi in Japan is doing the exact same thing but wrestling more. It's Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement match. It is Tanahashi versus Hiroshige Okada one last time. And I do love Okada saying, "You're not getting New Japan Okada, you're getting AEW Okada." I wonder how much he's actually going to do that, because why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? But I guess because he wanted to be the heel, they needed a heel in this match. Okada is a heel in AEW, but here we are. I don't know how this match is going to go. I legitimately don't know. In my brain, I have Tanahashi win his final match, but I
Because
don't.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins this match, which is what makes it so interesting. Because when it doesn't matter, it could be either guy, and
True.
it really doesn't matter.
You're
Mhm.
not wrong. You're 100% right about that. But what do you think? What do you think?
My I'm a romanticist. I think that guys should just go out on their back. I think that you should lose your last match and give something to the guy who beats you, regardless. Now, it's not like Okada has anything to gain in New Japan because he's not sticking around there. So that does throw a wrench in this, because the guy benefiting from it is not like Okada's his opponent, not because he's going to gain something, but because he's because this match sells tickets, obviously, because they sold all of them.
Yeah, I was just
So
saying. Oh, that's another thing we didn't bring up top of the show. This Tokyo Dome is sold out to the brim. Like, I could not believe the numbers I was seeing for the show. It's unbelievable.
it's going to be a record number because they sold 40,000 out, and then they opened up a section that is not always open, and then they sold that out.
Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely
So
amazing.
it's going to be like 50. It's going to be huge. So yeah, it doesn't matter who's going to win. This also will be their worst match because they haven't had a good match, or they haven't had a match since Tanahashi's knees were at least somewhat holding up, and Tana's knees at this point, it's just super glued together. So it's pretty tough. His body is just not in the shape that it could be. Now, not that he's got to hold back for anything, because he doesn't have to stay on the road afterwards. He's gonna do this match, and then he's gonna go home and enjoy life. So it's not like he's got to take it easy, but he's still. I mean, he's got to be able to walk. So he's got to be careful on those knees that are just absolute Swiss cheese. I Well, first of all, about this being in the main event slot, I think that American fans are less surprised than diehard New Japan fans that this is getting this slot, because people are like, of course you've got Okada and Tana in the main event, but that is very unlike New Japan. It does not matter what other matches are on the card. They have buried better matches under the card over and over and over in order to make sure that the championship went on last. But Okada Tana is on a different level,
Yeah,
and
I thought it didn't
and
surprise me. That's kind of why it didn't surprise me, because I'm like, if
yep.
any match is going to main event over the world title, it would be this match. That's how I
But
felt the minute I saw it.
and sure, but Gato is not somebody who breaks from tradition very often. We've seen him do it more in the last 5 years, but he's not. I mean, he is a traditionalist. So I think that they could have gone either way, but I think that they did the right thing by the people who are going to the show, because that's what they paid for. So it's going to be very emotional, and you got to give Tana as much time as he wants after the match to have his thing, because it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He's going to stay in the ring like Cena, and he's going to get his moment. So yeah,
You're not wrong. I know when we did this match in Chicago, we were there for almost half hour after his match, like, because nobody wanted to leave. Nobody in
yeah,
that building wanted to leave, and I had like a 2 hour drive back home, and nobody wanted to leave.
yeah,
Like, it was emotional in there that night. Like, it was really emotional. So I can only imagine if it was emotional in Chicago back in April. This is going to
yeah,
be insane in Wrestle Kingdom. Like, it's going to be absolutely insane.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right. Well, that is Wrestle Kingdom. That is our show. And so, Kelly, why don't you get your plugs in? Go for it.
Yeah, so obviously a big, big, big New Japan guy, and will continue to be one, no matter those peaks and valleys. And I have seen a lot of both. So I will continue to be a completist of New Japan. I also cover NXT for Pro Wrestling Torch, both modern and 8 years back. But our 8 years back show is only about 4 weeks from ending because we have reached the point where we actually started doing the modern NXT show 8 years ago. So we are just going to slightly overlap. We're going to get to the amazing Johnny Gargano Andrade match at Takeover,
Oh,
and
that match.
and give ourselves one last excuse to watch that match, and then Tom and I are hanging it up. So not sure what Tom's going to do after that. It's been great talking to him, and Tom is just through that. He's not just a great podcast partner. Tom is a great friend. He's one who I didn't get into it looking for that, but that's what he became, and so that's going to be tough to end. But yeah, well, still got modern PWT Talks NXT, which I'll continue to do with Nate Lindberg, who also became a great friend too. So still doing that every Tuesday night. And that is the bulk of my coverage. But I step in and I do a lot of main roster stuff too.
Yeah. So, well, thank you all for watching the show and listening to us talk about Japan for a little while. Thank you, Kelly, for taking time out. I know it was a last minute thing to do this today, and I greatly appreciate it as always. And I will do
Yeah.
better. 2026 to plan better. I'll do better. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm Blake. He's Kelly. And the guys will be back on our next show. You've been inside the Generation Evolution. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for joining us inside the Generation Evolution. We'll be back next week.
Thank you so very much. Goodbye. Mwah, and good night.